Hey everyone, it's Len at Lionstrong Athletics. Shoulders, or deltoids, are one of my favorite muscles to work, and nearly every shoulder day I involve some kind of dumbbell shoulder press. So today I'm going to go over 3 different variations that you can try out, as well as the techniques for whether your goal is strength, functional strength, or size. But first, go hit like and subscribe, and leave me a comment and let me know what kind of exercises you want to learn about next. The version I want to go over first is a standard dumbbell overhead press. You've probably seen this a lot at the gym. The key points here are my hands are facing out or facing the mirror, and I'm pressing up overhead. Now let's dive into some more technical aspects. What I want from you here is to try your best to keep 90-ish degrees and to keep your forearm more or less perpendicular with the floor. If we get that outside of perpendicular, it'll put a lot of stress through our shoulder joint, and if you get it inside that 90 degrees, our tricep is going to do a lot of the work and it's going to take away from our deltoid. So 90-ish degrees is a great starting point here. As you're pressing overhead, I like to push straight up into the air. If you come inside, I now have that weight pulling down against my tricep. My shoulder's actually not doing too much work right now. Whereas if I stay outside, so I'm pressing in a straight line, I still have pressure through my deltoid holding that weight up at the top. Now this exercise is fantastic for medial delt, as well as a little bit in our anterior delt. So I find it great for having my muscles grow and push out wide and then getting wider. If you're not sure how low to come during this press, I prefer lining up the dumbbells with my mouth or chin. Some people prefer the 90 degrees. I just like getting a little bit deeper into that stretch, but there is a personal feel to it, and it also depends on how heavy you go. Now the next exercise I want to get into is called a front press. Different than the standard press, we're going to have our hands facing inward. The best part of this movement is because our hands are inward, we can now stretch down deeper into our shoulder. It also targets this front pocket of our shoulder, our anterior delt, more than the medial pocket. Okay? So as I'm pressing, I want to do my best to keep this perpendicular to the floor as well. I don't want to have the weight out in front of me here where my biceps have to activate, and I don't want it super tight so I don't have pressure through my shoulder. Right now I'm at rest. So if I keep this forearm perpendicular to the floor, my shoulder is holding the weight up. I'm going to press up overhead. Now this is as far as I can go before my triceps kick in and do the rest of the work for me. So I'll show you what it looks like with the full press. I'm going deep. I'm getting that stretch through the front of my shoulder. I'm pushing up overhead. This is where I'm going to stop because I still have tension. And then I'm going to bring that back down and get the stretch. Pressing up, down, get that stretch. Again, the main benefit of this front press is I get to work the anterior part of my deltoid and really isolate that muscle to help that be the focal point of my growth. Now the third exercise we're going to go over is a combination of the first 2. It's known very well in the bodybuilding world because it's called an Arnold press. Basically what I get to do is combine both. I have the stretch in the front. I get to work my anterior delt. As I press, I'm going to rotate the weights and rotate my palms, and then I get my medial delts to kick in at the top. I'm rotating back down at the bottom and back into that stretch position. Pressing, rotating, rotating back down. So if I'm going to do this movement, I get to hammer out the anterior delt to the bottom. It transfers into my medial delt, and I get to build a lot of muscle mass over the whole course of the movement. Now, when we're doing these exercises, it is important to know what your goal is and what you're trying to get out of an exercise, whether it's deltoid strength overall functional strength or if it's size or hypertrophy. There are little changes that we're going to go over here in a second that will maximize your benefits towards whatever goal you have. So the first one I want to go over is if we're trying to maximize deltoid strength. Now, as we're picking up the weight, I want you to have a little bit of room here with your lower back, and I'm going to be pinching my shoulder blades just slightly. As I bring it down to the side, I really want to be stopping at 90 degrees or stopping with this in line with my dumbbell in line with my chin or mouth. As I'm pressing up overhead and my goal is strength, I want to come up right near the top. And that way I'm maximizing every part of this movement. I'm trying to learn how to lift strength at the top, at the bottom, bringing it down to the sides and stopping as I'm in line. I'll show you what that looks like with two. As I'm lined up, I have straight posture, pushing my chest out, and I'm driving up all the way to the top and back down. Drive all the way to the top, back down. Again, finding that roughly 90 degrees and stopping when you're in line with your chin. Now, if your goal is functional strength and maybe strength of this whole area, we might change things up a little bit. You won't be able to go quite as heavy because your range of motion is going to be larger. What I want you to do with this one is instead of stopping in line with your chin or mouth, you're going to let that go down as far as you're able to comfortably. Because in real life, when you go to pick up something, it might not be placed perfectly. It might be down here, and you have to get into this position that's very disadvantaged to be able to pick it up. So I want you to practice movements that are disadvantaged. So I might be starting with my weight down at my sides here in a huge stretch, and then bringing that up and overhead just the same, almost to the top, and practice the real full range of that motion. Let me show you what it looks like with two. I still want to have my chest out and a little hole in my lower back. I'm going into that big stretch and driving up overhead. Again, you will not be able to go as heavy, but that's okay. We're learning strength from a disadvantaged position. The last version I want to go over is if you're training for size. Anytime we're going for hypertrophy, we want to try to isolate the muscle group as much as possible. So first, we're going to adjust our back position. Instead of having our chest out and having a hole in our lower back, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to push our abs into the bench and be slightly rounded forward. Now, this isn't a great posture, but it turns off our chest muscles and our back muscles from helping us. And if those are turned off, our shoulder has to take more of the pressure. So as you're lifting this, I'm going to find a position I prefer near the chin as my bottom position here, just for comfort. Now, as I go to press overhead, the second rule of hypertrophy is constant tension. So as I press overhead, I have shoulder tension, and right about there, it just really goes away. My triceps take over. So I'm going to stop my motion there instead of pushing all the way up. Okay, so I'm going to bring that down to my side. I'm pushing in through the bench with my abs and curling over just a little bit. I feel a lot of the tension through my deltoid right now. I'm going to press overhead and stop right there. Press overhead and stop right there. I'm going to show you what it looks like with two dumbbells. If you go and watch professional bodybuilders lift, they do this naturally, probably without even understanding, but they're not lifting all the way up. They're keeping constant tension. I like to add the lower back push because it really takes the chest out of it and isolates the delts better. Keeping constant tension. And that is how you're going to focus more on hypertrophy or size of the deltoid. Now go try these 3 different variations. Remember to do the exercise dependent on your goal. If you're a beginner, try 15 reps, 3 sets. If you're advanced, 1 or 2 sets, go all out, right to failure. go hit that like and subscribe button and leave me a comment on which version was your favorite.